Welcome to the Ichi podcast, and I wouldn't call this a special one. I just call this one of our review episodes. You know, we could be talking about Kamen Rider Zets and how it's got a simultaneous release. This week, we could be talking about all the games that have been coming out, Diamond X Machina sequel, and Pac-Man World 2, all of that. So there's all sorts of stuff going on, but no. Today...
Did you say Pac-Man?
Pac-Man World 2. Repack. Yes. Nostalgia. This man's like, why would we be talking about Pac-Man? Anyways, my name is NW Epic, and I am joined by my co-host, Uma Pioi. How are you? Uma Pioi. How are you, sir?
Work's been kind of dumb today, but I'm ready. I'm ready to race.
You're ready to race. Also, I will agree. You know, before we start talking about the horse girls, I agree with you. I feel like some of your feelings towards I'll say that I'll say that after the podcast. Can't be putting things out of there. But yes, work has been a little silly. But yeah, we're talking about Uma Musume. Specifically, following off of the last episode, you made a comment pretty much saying that Uma Musume, I don't know if you specifically meant season 2 or you meant collectively just all of the different works. You were like, this is probably the greatest sports anime of all time. And so I was like, okay, if you're going to make that big of a claim.
Wait, okay. I said one of, but season 2 is definitely up there.
See, no, you can't be walking it. You can't be walking it back.
I haven't seen many. I did say I haven't seen many.
You did say that.
Season 2 is probably one of the best I've ever seen.
You know, what's funny is on that Lost episode, you actually didn't clarify it. So technically, if we didn't lose that first episode, I would have got you. But you did technically say you haven't seen many. And that's also why you probably forgot that I said I was going to do a tier list. Because I did say I was going to do a tier list. I'm not going to do the tier list anymore. I'm just going to...
Sports anime?
Yeah. Because you were like, this is the best. And I was like, okay, well, the perfect opportunity to put a tier list together. But no. Because that's toxic. And I do not agree. I do think it's really good, and we're going to get into that in a second. But with the original claim, the original of like best of all time, I was like, no, not close. But I will say what I've watched was good. Now, what did I watch? I watched season 2 of the main series, and then I watched Beginning of a New Era, or Shinjidai no Tobira. And I will definitely say of the two, I definitely enjoyed Beginning of a New Era way more. And we'll get to that in a second. But I think both were really good. Here's my thing. This is how I'll start, right? The thing that messed me up with season 2 is it's just so moe. And I personally, I'm just not a big moe guy. And so I couldn't get past the moe. And I couldn't get past, we actually talked about this after the podcast we recorded last time. The designs are just so over the top. Like, they also kind of took me out. I enjoyed it a lot more in sequences and scenes when they were just kind of in the casual track suits, or at the very least, if they had more like toned down suits. Like, I do think it's really cool that the suits that they wear during the big races are, you know, kind of designed to resemble what their original jockeys for the original horses wore during those, you know, races. But like, it just feels so overly designed. I was just like, it took me. I realized, me personally, I'm just very big. Like, you have to win me over with the visuals and the character design. I think the art is fantastic. It's just the designs. I think the characters are actually well designed. It's just kind of everything around them, if that makes sense. But that doesn't necessarily take away from the actual content of the show. And for what it's worth, I thought it was a pretty good sports anime. I wouldn't say it resonated with me with like a lot of the other sports series have in the past. But by the end of it, it had a lot of good moments, and by the end of it, I was like, okay, this wasn't a waste of time. So let's talk about season 2 first, because I'll probably gush a little bit about Beginning of a New Era, because I did genuinely enjoy that one. But season 2, like you said, very standalone. Obviously, it follows Tokai Teo. And pretty much from the get-go, I think what this series does a great job of, just I imagine overall, is kind of getting you interested in the history of the actual horses. Like I was less as interested in the ongoing story besides a few arcs from this season, and more so going down the rabbit hole of like, okay, this horse is this horse, and this is the historical context of like why this is happening, why they're having this particular derby or race or whatever it is. And I think Uma Musume does a fantastic job of if you know going into it that all of this is has correlation or ties back to the historical actual real life horses. I also like that these are the 90s. This era is kind of like 90s horses. So that was also a cool thing as well. 90s is a great era. But I think my coolest little historical thing was Tokai Teo. Obviously, what's the horse? Who's her senpai? Who's the president?
Simboli Rudolph.
Yes. So immediately I feel like they do a great job of just in the same way that Rudolph in real life was like this grand horse that won so many different events and lasted a while too. When I went looking through its record, they set the stage for Rudolph to be just this great kind of not a final boss, but per se, but like objective for Teo to sort of be working towards. And in that same vein, also the fact that technically, is the right word sire? I feel like I don't know if they use that for horses, but
sire is I think is the father. Yeah.
Okay, sire. Yeah, so Rudolph was the sire of Teo in real life. So I like that little connection. That was pretty cool. And for what it's worth, I think Tokai, I forget which one's the first name. Maybe it's Teo. I assume it'll be Teo. I'll just say Teo moving forward. Teo.
It's Teo.
It's Teo. That's what I thought. Teo's a good protagonist. I think she's a good main character to kind of focus this thing around. Obviously, from her real life, from the horse's real life history, you can absolutely make a lot of organic storytelling from just the injuries that it sustained and then was unable to kind of compete during that season. And then, how you can weave a narrative of like, okay, well, how does she overcome this? How does she feel watching her peers race? I kind of like the slow buildup of Majoro McQueen as well, because her story, she was kind of in the sideline a little bit at the beginning, but you could tell that she was kind of Teo's main rival, and then sort of her arc and how she built up as a character was really cool to see as well. And I think there's a genuinely great payoff at the end. I don't know. I mean, this is old, right? like, yeah, 2021. I'm gonna spoil. I don't care, but spoilers ahead. I kind of feel like I spoiled some things, but it doesn't really matter. Bigger spoilers. Bigger spoilers after this point. So Majoro McQueen, obviously, she has pretty much her run-ending injury right towards the end. Like she'll probably never run again. Although I'll get to a complaint I have about this series when I talk a little bit more about the end. But just the emotion there is pretty awesome to see, and how Teo, even after all of her injuries and pretty much also kind of being sidelined because her feet just have deteriorated, being able to make that comeback at the end, it's a cool thing to see. And I feel like Studio Kai did a great job of pumping their budget into the last few episodes, particularly that last race with Teo. I thought that was pretty cool. So I know that's like a very broad overview of season 2, but I think overall my experience with it was a little conflicted. Obviously, like I told you, from a design standpoint, I had those issues that kind of immediately took me out of it. But one of the things that I find with Uma Musume, just from watching season 2 and the movie, is that I feel like its greatest strength is also its greatest weakness. And what I mean by that is, I think it's amazing how they kind of organically weave these tales utilizing the real life history of these horses, but at the same time, by trying to be correct, or trying to take those histories and be approximate with it, I feel like it limits the storytelling that they're actually able to do. And I also feel like it kind of just causes a little wonkiness. For instance, we were talking about, is her name Nature Dance, right?
Nice Nature.
Nice Nature. I'll get that right. There's a horse called Dance something. Is it Dance Flame? Is that what I'm thinking about? It's Dance Flame. I feel like Dance Flame fills the same role as Nice Nature. Anyway, Nice Nature, every scene that I saw that character kind of pop up, she kind of played this role of like, I'm not gonna lose. Like she pseudo tried to be like a main character, but like she really wasn't relevant at all. She was just there. And historically, that's kind of the history of the horse. Like the horse was there at those important events that these other main characters were at, but like it would just come up in like second or third or whatever. And there's just no payoff, and you just kind of end. Like you do get a somewhat nice scene at the end of her like accepting, okay, yeah, Teo's back and Teo's won or whatever, but there's just no payoff. I feel like the biggest miss of this season is Rice Shower. They pretty much have a mini arc in like the middle of the season where they detail like Rice Shower's like situation where pretty much she beats gosh, these names are gonna kill me. What's the it's the one she acts like a robot almost. What's her name? Is it Bourbon?
Bourbon.
It's Bourbon. Okay, yeah. She pretty much beats Bourbon, or she keeps Bourbon from getting like this trifecta win. I forget all the terms, so just forgive me, but I'm doing my best. But she pretty much keeps Bourbon from a three-peat. And the crowd is pretty much, they don't necessarily hate her, but they're just like, wow, why would you do this? You know, we wanted to see her three-peat. You know how it is. It wasn't an underdog story for her. It was more so like you took away this exciting thing from us. And so she's depressed. And you pretty much have these slew of episodes focusing on trying to get her back into racing in order to compete and do her thing. And then you do technically get a payoff with her because, again, they're able to motivate her to, or Bourbon specifically is able to motivate her back into racing. And then she has her little arc and she actually wins against Majoro in that big arc and actually keeps Majoro from, I think, three-peating or whatever. But then after that, she's just kind of there. Like, and they hype her up as like, oh, she's this strong horse and yada yada, blah blah. But like, no, that was it. You just kind of get that little mini arc.
Well,
which, go ahead.
There's history behind that as well, but you can keep going.
Well, I mean, one thing I definitely wanted to say on this podcast was when I looked up the history of Rice Shower, I was like, damn, that's brutal. That's brutal. Okay. Yeah, I know. I looked up and like a fatal fracture on the. I didn't realize that they kind of euthanize those horses if it's fatal enough, which it makes sense because if they can't like get up or run.
I mean, this was bad enough that it was done on the track.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't realize they euthanized them on the track. Like that's crazy. So yeah.
I mean, yeah, usually they would move them after, but this was bad.
That was insane. And before I continue on season 2, now is I think the time that I wanted to bring up something that I wanted to ask you. All throughout watching this and even watching A New Beginning, it really brought to my mind, like, yes, this is fun to watch these horse girls racing, but especially if you have the context of like these are based on real life horses, doesn't it make you feel a little bad for the sport of horse racing? Like I went and did research into just like, do horses naturally love to race? Like obviously these specific types of horses have been bred to have specific, traits and qualities that don't necessarily make them the healthiest, or at least able to, continue to race like this, over long periods of time. Like their muscles and their legs are kind of thin and just all sorts of stuff. And I felt bad. Like in previous episodes, I talked about how cool it was that they supported the horses. But I mean, if you just take a second and think about really what you're kind of subjecting these horses to. I'm not PETA by any means, but like, I don't know, man. It was kind of rough.
It depends on the horse, I guess, because some of them, like, they do just like running. Like some retired horses in their in their farms, they're just starting running back and forth. If there's another horse in the next pen over, it's like they're running back and forth in the fields, racing each other.
I guess, but is that not maybe a
While
trauma stress?
Others are just. I don't think they're like, broiler chickens that are like being bred to be ultra fat or something. But
I don't know.
there are some horses do have like kind of like a PTSD kind of situation where they hear the starting horn, and they freeze and their head pops up.
It's crazy.
And then the ears like tweak out. It's like, oh shit, race time.
Yeah, that was just rough to me. Because, I mean, obviously, now I haven't watched all of the seasons or looked at all of the content, but obviously I think a big piece of a lot of these is the injury factor, because it is just a very prominent and real thing to actual horse racing. So in the back of my mind as I'm watching this, I'm like, this is kind of brutal. Now, earlier I touched on the fact that obviously both of our main characters, McQueen and Teo, both suffered from, pretty much career-ending fractures. But like by the end of it, they're like, yeah, let's race again. Kind of putting a little sweet bow on it. Unlike real life, where brutally Rice Shower is getting euthanized on the dang track. Like, what? That's crazy. But anyways, moving on.
I think that happened about a year after what was shown in the season 2.
So yeah, that's why they did the not the second generation, but I guess technically the generation from Beginning of a New Era, that would technically be like,
that's like the late thousands. I would say.
Yeah, that's like the thousands. So,
but
they're like, yeah,
the main series they take a few more liberties on the writing and story to keep things, not death,
which is hilarious. But yeah, I mean, other than that, I think that was the main thing for me from season 2. Goldship was absolutely my favorite character. She was my favorite character just because of some of the silly antics that they had with her. Again, the entire team Spica didn't really do much, although I do know obviously it just really depends on which season you're watching where they'll be more relevant. Obviously, what's the main character? Nice Week, Special Week. Yeah, I mean, she plays a supporting role. She's technically one of the 3 Tritagonists. Her, Teo, and there's an orange hair one. I don't remember her name.
Silence Suzuka.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the main characters for season 1.
That makes sense. And so they didn't play that big a role, but again, this was focusing on Teo. I also liked Dictus. I liked all of the B tier characters, because even though they didn't do anything, like I mean nothing, like they had a few races, but they were not relevant horses or characters or whatever. I did like some of their little interactions and the ways that they were woven into the story. So Ikuno Dictus was one I liked. I said her name earlier. She's the blue-haired one. Twin Turbo.
Twin Turbo.
Yeah, Twin Turbo's cool.
Little gremlin.
Yep. I actually liked. She's not a part of that group, but she's also another Meijiro. What's her name? Meijiro. It starts with an M. I forget what her name is. Let's see.
On that team?
No. She's a front runner horse, and she actually won one of the races during the season. Is it Palmer? It might be Palmer. I think it's Palmer.
Yeah, there's Palmer.
Yeah. Which that whole Major thing doesn't make any sense to me, because they don't seem to interact at all, but whatever.
The family names, I think, usually come from the same owner.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But they also pull names from parents as well.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, I was like, only McQueen seems to be of the royal luxury of, the Majiro family. There's
a Majiro Ryan as well, the short-haired. I think they are related. So there's some like extra scenes or filler scenes where they're like all at home at their mansion, doing vacation or something.
Gotcha. That makes sense. I want to actually talk about, now that you brought up family and stuff, like with Rudolph, for example, right? Like technically, Teo saw Rudolph when she was a small girl, and then she grew up and became a high school student, and Rudolph was still there.
Right.
How does that work?
No. You don't think about it.
No, I immediately thought about it because again, I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then Rudolph will be long retired or what? Nope, she's still there.
Trasen Academy is this singularity void of time where horses from the 70s to modern day all exist.
It makes no sense because in the same season, they do the same thing with Kita-san Black and whatever her friend name is.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. Void of time. Got it.
Rudolph's been president for like 30 years.
That's insane. And will be the president forever, I guess.
Yep.
But
so, yeah, don't think too hard about it.
I thought very hard about it throughout the entire season. But either way, I think to kind of wrap up, because there's not too much else to say here, I think it was a pretty good season. Again, there was some things that took me out. And like I said, the biggest strength is also the biggest weakness for me of this series. But to a degree, I get it. And for what it's worth, I think they do a great job of like getting you into that historical aspect of wanting to look up the stuff. Especially if you're that type of person that likes to know all the things about something, if you really like it, like you research Wikipedia, Google, whatever you do. So I thought that was pretty cool. Just if they could tone down that moe-ness just a smidget, it would have been much, much better. Briefly to talk about the studio, Studio Kai was the one who animated this, and they're relatively new, established in 2019. I went and looked at their backlog. Interestingly, to me, titles that stood out, they did Futo Tante, which is the anime adaptation of Kamen Rider Double. They've done some Prince of Tennis. They've done some Captain Tsubasa. What's something else that stuck out to me? Not much else that really, really stuck out to me. They're doing the Nube, the 2025 Jigoku Sensei or Hell's Teacher Nube. That's interesting. It's rated very low though, so that's kind of sad. They also did the Netflix adaptation of Mushikago no Kagester, which that's probably going to be pretty obscure to a lot of people. But yeah, that was season 2. Is there anything you want to add? Any questions or?
What would you give it out of 10?
Out of 10, I give it a 7.
Whoa!
I give it a 7. That's a personal rating. If I had to give it an objective, like take away my qualms with it, I'd give it an 8. I mean, I think it's a very solid made series. It's definitely not I definitely couldn't objectively in my mind give it like a 9, but like I think an 8 is a perfect score for it. I think it's a good watch. If you like sports anime, it's a good watch. It's a little disjointed in the story just because of the historical nature, but it does have a good cohesive theme. And when the character moments hits, they really hit, and especially that last race was really good. So I it's a personal 7, but it's an objective 8. You're thinking.
Can't remember what I gave it. The second half, I'd say is definitely better than the first half.
I would agree.
Like almost everything happens in the second half.
Oh, you reminded. I don't know why that reminded me. What's with the random idol thing? That also took me out. A 6. It's a 6. What's with the? I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. I thought I explained this before.
Explain it again.
The concerts that they have, they're in universe lore is back in ancient times they would just do celebrations and dances to the 3 goddesses. They
should have explained that then.
Name. Well, it's kind of there in the first season.
Okay.
But it usually takes the concerts usually take a backseat to the series anyway, so it's not hugely important.
I mean, it's not. It's not. I mean, they only showed it twice, I think.
I mean, IRL, it refers to like the parade that they have before races.
Yeah. I mean, again, for somebody new coming in, and I didn't watch the first season, so I didn't have the context. But even if I watched the first season, like that whole idol thing, regardless of how you spin it, it just made me feel like, come on, are you really commercializing this thing to that degree? You already got the horse girl thing. Like, do you really have to make them sing and dance and do choreographed idol, whatever sequences? Now, I will say, I'll give them credit for the opening of season 2 to do that, and then kind of organically weave in the fact that Teo had the injury. That was a good use of that, but they didn't have to do it that way. They didn't. There was one more thing. Gosh, there was one more thing. I talked too much about the idol thing, and I was gonna make a point about it. I might remember when we start talking about the movie. But yeah, any other thoughts on season 2?
So I gave it a 8.5. I thought I put it higher, but so when I was watching it, I was like at episode like 8 or 9, and then I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, but I'm updating my AniList page and I see the ratings. It's like a lot of 9s and 10s. I'm like, whoa, where are these ratings coming from?
Yeah.
So I missed something. And then I guess I'll just keep watching. And then as I kept watching, it's like, oh, I see where it's all coming from because everything is happening now. The Teo holding the timer and realizing she's not going to be able to run again or run like she has before. And then Twin Turbo doing her race on the big screen and everyone watching.
10 out of 10.
Yeah, Twin Turbo, the GOAT.
The GOAT.
Okay, side thing about Twin Turbo. I think it's about Twin Turbo. That IRL, she could not pace herself. So she would run full power out of the gate. And by the end of the race, she's like tired. So she was only good at sprints. And that's how they designed her in the show.
That's awesome. No, I like Twin Turbo a lot.
And after that, the whole injury with McQueen, and then all of that after Teo visiting her at the track, and then we get to the final race, not knowing what's going to happen. I tried to not look at any records or races when watching this. Then you just see Teo just pull to the front at like the last like 20 seconds, winning after a whole year at the same race after injuring herself. Then I say, yeah, I see the 10s in this, but I don't think I could have given it a 10 from the slower first half.
Yeah, it's not a 10, but it's good. I agree. And I think if you haven't watched a lot of sports anime, or connected with sports anime, if this was like one of the few that you have watched, you will get it. Like, I've had so many memories with other sports anime or moments with sports anime. Like, this one didn't hit. Like there were good moments, but it didn't hit the same as like some of these other series have hit for me. But like, no, I absolutely agree. Like, if this is your like first interaction.
Yeah, but I'm not a big fan of like team sports, really.
And that makes sense. That's why you need to watch Hajime no Ippo, because it's not a team sport. It's just...
Yeah, but is it historically accurate?
No. I mean, to a degree, it's realistic to a certain degree.
I mean, where else are you gonna find a runner that comes back 1 year later to win after breaking their leg?
I mean, there's lots of stories where you can find things like that. Like, well, not trying to give an example here, but I mean, there's lots of sports stories where you can find that. But I will say, probably none that are directly driven from real historical, events. So, I mean, fair enough to Uma Musume for that. But it's a good series. It was a good season. I would recommend it to people who like idol culture, like moe culture, who like sports anime. And yeah. So let's talk about Beginning of a New Era. Yeah, that movie, I was a little like, no more. I don't really want to watch it anymore. Like, it was good, but I was like, I'm not really feeling this after season 2. But then I watched Beginning of a New Era, and I was like, okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Which one did you watch? You watched
Beginning of
Wait.
a new era.
No, before that.
Season 2.
You said you're not. Are you talking about season 2?
Yeah, I'm talking about season. Yeah, I wouldn't. I was like, I don't really want to watch anymore. I get it. But no, beginning of a new era was actually really, really good. Like if I gave season 2 a 7, I feel like objectively I have to give beginning of a new era a 9. Cause like I was invested. I loved the characters. I loved the animation. Like Cygame's pictures, whew, it looked good. It sounded good. The characters were good. Even like the race costumes were way more toned down. Like the moe-ness was just ripped from this movie, and I felt like it was so much better for. You may not agree, or it may not matter as much, but like beginning of a new era was solid. It was a really solid movie. Like the moments that hit really hit. Like there's still drama. Obviously, it's not the same type of. It's sad drama, but it's not the same type of sad drama that you got from season 2. But this one, oh, it was so good. And let's just dig into it. First of all, Agnes Tachyon, I believe that's how you pronounce that character's name. Peak antagonist. Even she's technically not an antagonist, but she kind of is the antagonist. And like I'm skipping all around the place because I'm just thinking about the hype moments. But like when she tells Jungle Pocket, pretty much Jungle Pocket is like, why are you gonna race anymore? This is after Tachyon realizes like her days are numbered. She'll no longer be able to race because of the career-ending injury or whatever. And Jungle Pocket is like, well, I haven't had the opportunity to beat you. Like, I don't have an answer yet. Like, who's faster, me or you? And she's like, you saw it the last race, didn't you? And I was like, oh! She was like, sorry. I was like, okay, talk it. It wasn't the whole like, I'm sorry, like, the whole. No, she went out like a boss. She said like, you saw who was faster, didn't you? It was me. It was me. Even on my torn up leg, you had no hope. And I was like, oh, this movie's sick. This movie is sick. Anyway, Jungle Pocket, she's kind of a stereotypically shonen kind of archetype. Hot-blooded, wants to race, wants to win. She watches, is it Air Shakur? Is that the one? Or no, it's Fuji Kiseki. Fuji Kiseki.
Right.
And she gets inspired by Fuji Kiseki, and then she joins and becomes a racer, and she's really, really good. She's undefeated for a while until she meets Tachyon. Again, obviously, maybe it's just stereotypical for me that Jungle Pocket, I really liked her because, again, just none of that moe and just badass horse girl doing badass horse girl things. But she was enjoyable to watch. Dance Flame. I think Dance Flame was this season's nice-natured, useless. What was another character? Manhattan Cafe. One of the things, I almost want to bump it back down. I know I said 9. I feel like it's kind of an 8. And the reason I would say it's kind of an 8, I felt like this had a great story. Again, one that pulls from the historical context of these real life horses. But Manhattan Cafe, I felt was built up in a similar style to what Rice Shower was supposed to have, but actually no payoff at all. Like Rice Shower at least got a payoff when she eventually beat Major Queen, and while the crowd was still like, man, she won again, like at least the other horse girls like clapped for her, and she was able to live with that pretty much. Like Manhattan Cafe had this little subplot in the movie where she could see the shadow of this other horse girl that she was trying to attempt to catch up to or beat or whatever, but like it never actually goes anywhere. It's just this little thing that they put in there that's like, ooh, this is cool, and they do nothing with, absolutely nothing with it. I thought part of it might have been incorporated into Jungle Pocket's story, because she has a moment where since Tachyon's no longer racing, she's having self-doubt, and she starts to see this like shadowy figure, and I couldn't tell if that was Tachyon or somebody else, so I thought maybe that was the thing that Manhattan Cafe was chasing, but no, it's separate. So I felt like they butchered Manhattan Cafe. I felt like that could have been a really cool little sub arc thing that they could have did something else with, but it was really just there, and they did nothing else with it. I really like the support. Oh, okay. Maybe I like the series more because I feel like I'm all over the place with how I'm talking about it. But hold on, before I talk about this anymore, I finally remembered the last thing I wanted to talk about was season 2. I think my favorite thing of season 2 was the little running gag of the hairstylist when they would watch the races, and the progression of like she was accidentally snipping that same client's hair and just messing her up, but she would keep coming back each time with a bigger helmet, and then eventually she didn't show up anymore, and then by the end she came back again. She was like, yes, you can do my hair again, and they both cut each other bald. I thought that was a good little, I thought that was very cute. I actually genuinely chuckled at that. And in fact, some of the very, very background characters had some like funny stuff going on that I thought was pretty funny, which is kind of rare for me in anime, because a lot of times I'm just kind of like, okay, this is just fluff. That doesn't mean anything. But no, it was a consistent gag, and it was pretty funny. Moving back to Beginning of a New Era, though, I felt like the supporting cast was pretty strong. It was definitely a lot more, obviously with it being a movie, it was a lot more nuclear, a lot more focused. And so I felt like characters had genuine opportunity to shine and be useful and mean something. The old man trainer, I think his name is Tanabe. I really liked his inclusion there, and how he and what's her name again, Kiseki, how they were kind of mentors for Jungle Pocket. I kind of liked a lot of the other horse. Well, I like the fact that they didn't try to spend too much time actually with any other horse girls or groups or whatever like that. There was no clutter. It was just kind of your main cast, and we focused on them and kept them at the center. TM Opera O, I didn't know too much of. I liked her whole, I felt like she was just a ripoff of, what's the guy from Pokemon?
You gotta watch the other movie.
Yeah, I figured she played a bigger part in the previous OVA/movie, but what's the guy from Leon? Do you know what I'm talking about? From not Scarlet and Violet, but the one before that, Sword and Shield, the champion.
No.
Well, if you look up Leon, you'll understand the comparison I'm making. Anyways, she was pretty much Leon, and I just thought that was cool, even without having direct knowledge of who she was, because I didn't watch the previous OVA. And that final racing sequence between her and with all of the different racers and Jungle Pocket, I was like, okay, this is a sick movie. Going back to Saigane's pictures, I really liked also the personality that their animation showed as well. Like, it wasn't just keeping to the model sheets and sort of, doing little cute things. Like, no, they broke their characters. They did all sorts of different shots, angles, takes, colors, to invoke all sorts of different things. Like, they did a really, really great job with this movie. I felt like I was like, okay, I'm not watching a gotcha trailer or advertisement. Like, I'm watching a legit anime movie. It was really good. I don't think I have much more to add about the movie. Like, I could break down the plot, but I do feel like it's one of those ones you can kind of just go into blind, just watch, turn your brain off and enjoy. If you don't like shonen, you probably won't like this. But again, like, Agnes Tachyon just eats up this movie. Just an amazing character. Like, just steals the show. Absolutely steals the show. And I like the fact that obviously the horse in real life is undefeated, and the way that they incorporated that into this movie, it was really cool.
Undefeated, only 4 races.
Still undefeated. Undefeated. It was really cool.
I like her personalities. Just a girl failure. Scientist.
Yes. I like all of it. I like the cockiness. I like the science aspect. I like all of it. Man, that scene was a top scene. I think
she also refers to everyone with the Kun title, or what do you call it? Honorific, to kind of imply everyone's below her.
See, that's subtle stuff. I was just more in the movie, so I didn't hear that. But that's a cool little personality quirk. That's awesome. Well, you tell me about the movie because I feel like I don't know. I feel like you probably know a little bit more about season 2 and maybe not as much about the movie. Do you feel the same way I felt about the movie in comparison to the main season or series, or am I just tripping?
Yeah, the movie is good. Like all the cinematics and animation and everything. I think the music was directed by the guy. I think he's most best known for doing Iron Blooded Orphans Gundam. He did the soundtrack for this movie, and all the tracks are very good. But yeah, overall it was very good. But I don't think there's anything exceptional. Like it didn't hit the same peaks as I thought about season 2. But the Tachyon's first sequence with her running and all the formulas, and you see the Manhattan Cafe's ghost friend. The theory is that ghost is Sunday Silence, which is the father or grandfather for maybe 60-70% of most Uma Musume you see in the IP.
Yeah,
They're quite a famous American racehorse lineage.
Yeah, when I was looking up a lot of the horses, I saw Sunday Silence name like a lot. So I didn't dig into it, but that makes a lot of sense. Then why didn't they do anything with it? That's my disappointment. Like again, it was a cool setup.
I don't think they will ever show the personification of Sunday Silence, but I don't know. It's like, but the implications of that, because that would imply Sunday Silence did exist in this world, in the universe, and no one knows what happened to them. Like there's no status. Like, are they retired? Are they not real? Are they like a mythological being? But that would make sense because they should be like grandparents to a lot of these girls.
Well, like you said, don't think too deeply about it, right? We got freaking Rudolph existing into 15 generations of horse racers, so well, I mean that makes I feel like your breakdown makes a lot of sense though, at least for how I think we both sort of what we both like and maybe how we went into the show feeling about it. So I mean that makes sense if you feel that way. I definitely think it's a much better showcase, but that's just because of my own sensibilities. So I get it. I get why season 2 would be a lot better. And obviously, I think probably season 2 aligns more with what the brand as a whole is trying to present itself as versus, what the movie was doing. So that makes sense. But yeah, no, go ahead.
I think the game definitely does a better showcase of all their personalities and interconnecting stories, because it's a game, you can stuff a lot of content into that.
Yeah,
like even some hidden secret events that if you achieve something in game that they weren't able to do in real life, you get some bonuses or secret dialogue and events. There's even some characters that I don't remember the specific one that passed away pretty early in their career, and that if you get past a certain point in the campaign for that character, they would become slightly self-aware, like the we both know we're not supposed to be here type shit.
That's kind of creepy.
It is a little creepy, but the attention to detail that they put into the whole IP is pretty insane.
Yeah. I mean, shoot, when I was finishing up and I saw that Cinderella Grey was another thing that they had going on now, and that a new season is about to drop next month, I was like, oh my goodness, like they're full of training, but they should be. And I think they have a good product here, honestly. Like, again, it may not be for me, but after
I think you would like Cinderella Grey. It's definitely less moe. It's more gritty.
Is it more gritty?
Takes place in like the 70s, 80s, I want to say. Probably, I want to say 80s. Because I think Rudolph was 70s, like 74. Yeah, you definitely like Cinderella Grey more than season 2 if the mowiness was too much.
Yeah. I mean, I can see
And
it.
it's made by Side Games Pictures too.
Oh,
So.
is it? Ooh. Well, when you did send me that trailer the other day, and I saw one of the designs, we're not gonna get into that. I was like, okay, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? But we're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna talk about that. Maybe I'll watch it. I got a lot of backlog to catch up on, but you know what? Maybe I'll watch it. But before we wrap up, because I've been yapping. Geez, I think I like this series. Anything else you want to say about the movie? Before we just kind of summarize overall?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, here's my wrap up. I actually think I
You
liked
watch the first movie.
Well, you're talking about the OVAs, right? Because I think
The Road to the Top.
yeah, because in the movie, like
We
just a
love
compilation.
NTR, this household.
Oh my gosh. Narita Top Road, is that what her name is? Narita
Yep.
Top
Yeah.
Road. Yeah. For whatever reason, I remember that, but NTR. You know what? Maybe. After watching Beginning of a New Era, I was like, I could watch the first movie. I mean, it's not gonna hurt. I might do that. And then if I do, I'll report back. But I think overall, after giving it a chance, okay, I get it. No, I will not get into this series, but I think Cygames has something really good here. And I can understand why it's becoming a sensation like it is. And this isn't even the game. Like, these are just anime adaptations. And in particular, like, season 2, it's been out for a while. So it's not like this is just brand new. Like, they've been slowly building this over time. So it's just cool to see. I'm still... I still have some of my PETA brain just thinking, though, about contextually just the history of these actual horses for real and just the strain put on these horses. But that's a story for another time.
Well, if you liked Gold Ship, apparently he retired completely 100% good health. So people are wondering if Gold Ship ever actually ran at full potential.
Did it ever run at all?
We don't know. No, yeah, she's got multiple G1 wins, but we don't know if that was her full potential. If we ever saw her full potential,
That's crazy.
I mean, we probably, but that's a theory, or the Gold Ship is an enigma crowd.
Interesting. Well, I will say with Gold Ship in season 2, I very much like the gags of. I liked her personality, and then I also liked the gags of the weird training things that she does, particularly with McQueen, where she put those heavy horseshoes on and she was hopping over and stuff, and she'd always land on her back. That was funny as well.
McQueen is Gold Ship's grandfather.
That's crazy.
And the whole Gold family lineage they're also filled with other weirdos.
That makes a lot of sense. In one of the Gold family, a major part of season 3.
Season 3, I'm not sure.
I feel like I saw them in the ads, but oh yeah, I was also trying to figure out what was Gold Ship thing with the Rubik's Cube. I was like, why she keep bringing out the Rubik's Cube? Anyways, I guess that's part of the enigma charm, just random and doing whatever. But
I think it's probably referring to Gold Ship being smarter than the average horse. I think she was probably read somewhere that she's estimated like a 7-year-old versus the typical 4 to 5-year-old
Okay.
human intelligence.
Well,
Man, there's a whole collection of Gold Ship facts that you can find online about the weird things she does.
that's crazy.
Okay. Some say that the Rubik's Cube refers to her 6 G1 wins in her racing record, but it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah. Well.
And the fact that she will do anything except train.
Well, she was definitely useless in season 2, but not useless in my heart as far as a fun character. Excuse me, to look at.
Well, I guess in season 3 she's shown toward the end of her career. She retires, I think, at the beginning of season 3.
That's probably who I thought.
You don't really see that. But she also does the Michael Jackson stand and stare with sunglasses. if you've seen that scene before.
I have not seen it, but I'll look it up later. That's funny. All right. Well, we're not gonna hold this too much longer. This was technically supposed to be a shorter one, but we're almost at an hour, which is kind of crazy, and that's mostly my fault. This man, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah. Apparently, in one of the scenes in season 2, they start doing a bunch of comment. Did you send me that? I think you sent me that. The Kamen Rider poses that they were doing. Yeah, you sent me that.
Oh yeah,
you sent me that. Which I thought that was.
I want to say that's from the season 1 OVAs, but yeah.
Ichigo, Builder, Faiz. Yeah, I think it is Faiz, and then no, that's not Faiz. Who is that? That's no, that's Faiz. Yeah, that's Faiz, and then Kabuto. Oh, and they also do double as well. So cool. That Michael Jackson pose is funny though. That's super funny. MJ forever iconic. Rest in peace. But yeah. Now that's my time with Uma Musume. I would say it's a pretty good series, and so. But is it the best sports series? No, it's not. It's not. But it's a good one. It's worth watching. So yeah. I think we will wrap it up there. Thank you for watching, and we will catch you on the next one. Later. I feel like there was somebody. It's not Natural Dance. Is that her name? Nature Dance. That's the name.
Nice Nature.
Nice Nature. Whatever. She's not relevant at all, but she's kind of relevant.
Hey.
She's not relevant in this season.
You do not diss Nice Nature.
She's not relevant though. Not in this season. I don't know if she's relevant in other media, but in this season, she's just kind of.
I think her personality revolves around getting third place a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Like she just does that throughout the show, and it's like there's no. I think
even her skill in game it procs when she's in third place.
That's funny. That's okay. Let's start talking because see, this is what I'm talking about right here. So